Hey everybody, it's Tim Larkin. One of the most challenging things for me to do is to deal with victims of violence, particularly women that have been sexually assaulted, and getting them through the training process. I'm going to share with you a series. We're going to break it up into three different videos here. And it was a seminar that we did a while back where the women were doing great, just absolutely great during the whole process of the training until it got to grabs, holds, and chokes. This is where a lot of the responses were triggered because this is how a lot of their sexual assault started. And I realized these women weren't going to be able to go with the rest of the class until we laid a much better, calmer foundation for them. And so what I did was I took one of my better instructors. He was just great. He's very good training women. And I had him go with a couple of other assistants, and we broke out these women and we put them in a separate area. And I said, hey, go ahead and tape this for me. Now, listen, the video quality isn't great, but the audio is good enough and you'll follow it. So you'll be like a fly on the wall. But really what I want you to see is how Bruce goes and just stair steps these women through very intimidating things, really getting pinned on the ground, how they would deal with that, getting pinned against the wall, being grabbed from behind. All these things are going to be handled in these three videos that we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start the first video. And remember, before I do start the video, please subscribe to the channel, and also please share this with a friend. If you like these videos and you like the information that I'm sharing, believe me, it's hard to get this information out, especially in this day and age. So the more you share, the more we can grow this channel, and I really appreciate it. Now, let's get to the video.
As men, we think that violence is a man's game, and it's not. Violence is a human game, and it's a problem that is posed to humanity as a whole, right? So it doesn't matter which gender you are, just like we were discussing all weekend. When violence happens, and when you injure someone, the universe doesn't check the chromosomes, right? It doesn't matter that you're a woman. If you can impart the proper amount of force into the proper placement, the body will break. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's discuss something about being grabbed first and foremost. I'm going to borrow Jack. So as humans, right, being social animals, we mirror, right? Jack's standing this way. Oh, you just as you were. Yeah. So whether I know it or not, I'll normally want to stand like this or like this. We're mirroring each other, and it's social posturing in a positive sense, right? Problem being is if I'm grabbed, we have a tendency to want to grab, right? Or, and this is going to be most importantly for all of you, is there's going to be the tendency to want to get ungrabbed. And the problem isn't that we've been grabbed. In fact, you're all here right now, and what we're going to work through is I want you to start seeing this as an opportunity, because he's brought everything over to you that you need. Look how close he is. I hope everyone right now, your minds are lighting up with all the different targets that you now have the ability and the knowledge to destroy. All the trauma that each and every one of you knows you can impart on him, right? You've had that kinesthetic feeling, right? That kinesthetic feedback of, oh, absolutely, I can do that. Good. Keep that. We're going to harness that, okay? But we've got to do it slowly, because being grabbed and pulled and kicked at doesn't enforce anything. It just, all of our normal fear responses go off. So we're not going to grab each other like Jack was doing. I'm setting this up so that as we go further down this rabbit hole, your mind is where I want it to be and where it needs to be for all of us to learn this together, okay? So when somebody puts hands on us, it's the opportunity. He's bringing everything I need over to me. So here we go. Right? It's simply about not fighting. And this is particularly important for all of us right now. It's not about resisting. That's where the strength comes into play, right? And that's what I would assume you're all worried about, is he's going to be stronger than me. Perfect. Not a problem. Let's not go strength for strength. Let's go strength for injury. And we know now that injury rules the day, right? Being grabbed from behind. This can be a scary one. So if the hands are free, right? The biggest thing is the constant state of attack. You've heard us say this before. So I can't do anything about the fact that I've been grabbed. If I try to be ungrabbed, Now we're going strength for strength, and that's only going to last for a very small amount of time before you're completely exerted yourself, yes? So, good. Strength is fine. That's all on his side. He is now attached. If he attaches himself to each one of you or one of you, he's holding on to somebody who knows how to break the human machine. He's brought everything that you need to harm him over to you. Had he known any better, he would have shot one of us from across the parking lot to take whatever he had wanted, but he didn't. He brought it all over. This is your opportunity, and this is very important for this part, okay? So I hope everybody is seeing how easy it would be to take groin. Now again, not the cliche groin of grab him in the testicles. I'm talking about dropping your weight and striking, and then once you begin to feel his natural response to being injured in that area is taking advantage and taking opportunity of that to then grab, twist, and then finish everything you've already been working on this entire week, causing trauma. Now notice the flip. This is very important right now to begin noticing the flip in what some would think as, oh my gosh, what in heaven's name is he going to do? And just with a few basic gross body movements, see how everything turned, everything tipped. So what if my hands are pinned? Okay? So, and what if he's got me picked up? Right? Because right? Bigger, faster, stronger. So you're picked up. I can't quite get the groin. Here's one thing that's really interesting, and all of you can feel this if you would like to, is if you, with my feet being off the ground, if you start kicking down, you will begin to slowly slide. As you slide down, that's your opportunity. So it's not about panicking. It's about waiting for your opportunity. And not waiting as in, someday I'll get the opportunity. Just don't panic and don't fight. Look for your opportunity, and once you have it, you exploit it. And you exploit it again and again and again and again until he or they are non-functional, and then you do whatever you have to do from there. Okay? So from the ground, let's just get right to it now. Here we go. Oh. All right. This is what we're all worried about, yeah, and it's understandable. It's a domination maneuver, right? And the thing about it is that no matter how much force he's imparting downward on me, right? So if I try to struggle, Jack is way stronger than I am. That's why we're doing it this way. He is stronger than me. So I could spend a lot of effort trying to outmaneuver him, right, and go strength to strength, and I'd be exhausted. Or if I understand a few very basic principles about the balance that he has right now, I can exploit that. So, one, he has force bearing down on me, right? No matter how much force he imparts in me, he cannot stop me from moving my hands perpendicular to that. So we can go left arm down, and I'm using my lat muscles, right? Latissimus dorsi. They're our single biggest muscle grouping in our torso. So I'm trying to pull my elbow down to my hip. And he's trying, right? Or what if I push one way or the other? And you're all going to feel this, right? I want everyone to feel this. This isn't, it feels like magic, but it's not. It's just a simple understanding of, right now he's got a base. Normally human beings, right, when we stand, we have a 2 foot, we're on like our base is two-pronged, yeah? So right now think of him in this way, as 4, he's a table. So now that we've understood that you can just begin to tip him off balance just a little bit, we can apply the second thought. Before we do that, though, let's just look at this. What is my immediate danger? What's the immediate danger? Any? I mean, we can all fill in the blanks on what we think is going to happen. For sure. Okay, so something's going to happen, but as of right at this very moment, looking and seeing where we are, there's no immediate danger. Yes? So, I mean, his hands are both tied up. His legs are, all right. So, in order for him to do something, what's going to have to happen? Got to let go of one or both. So, now that we're understanding this, as he lets go to do one of a couple things, I hope you're all looking at all the opportunities that you're going to have. There's 3 parts of the human body that we can wreck with just the strength of our hands: eyes, throat, and groin. But again, they're not magic. Very important, they're not magic, okay? You have to want to cause trauma to these parts of the body. All right, you have to mean it. You have to take it. And if you do, you will. Okay? So if we're back here. So knowing that, we're going to play with a couple different things. We're going to get into this, and our partner's going to take turns, just taking one hand off, nice and slow, whichever one. And I want you all to actively target and see what opportunity you have. Okay? Then from there, we're going to do the best part, at least for me. This is my favorite, is applying this principle and knowing that he's got a four-prong base right now. If we combine that with that, it changes, and it changes really quickly, and it changes all in our favor. But we're not going to waste that fabulous impetus. And the thing about this to understand, go ahead, is that this isn't about getting him off of me, right? Because if we think about it in these terms, that's when fighting happens, right? All we have to do is know that if we can tip him just off of his base, so it's like, think about pushing a four-legged table just over, just enough. That's what we're going to do. Go ahead. So we're going to do it simultaneously. So right now I'm going to push my hands up to the right, knowing that I'm going to get this from him. Yeah. So reset. I'm going to decide. Okay, I'm going up to the right. When I decide to do that, I'm going to bring my heels right up under my behind, and I'm going to fire for my heels. I want to use my glute muscles. Yeah. And I'm going to push, and as I push, now I fire and I push. Now, check it out. If we stop right here, notice he's tipping off balance. That's all I needed, because as I continue and we go, I wasn't trying to get off of him. I was trying to take him off balance just enough to be able to cause the bodily harm that I need to cause. Now, look at the inversion of what you just saw. You saw classic nightmare scenario, and within just a few movements, and movements that were simple enough and non-exerting enough to where I could speak through it. That's what we want to work on right now, right? There's plenty of stress surrounding this. We don't need to inject anymore. That's why we're all over here. That's why Jack and Ernie are here to help me out, is because all of us, we're not going to leave the room until each and every one of you feels fabulous about that. Does that make sense? So the consideration is, when you're here, it's not about trying to get him off of you. It's about putting yourself into a position to where you can now injure. And when we do it, we're all going to injure to the point of non-functional. Because one injury and then done, right? The magic release button, who knows how long he'll react to that. And we never practice the one and done. One and done is very dangerous. So we are going to practice the once you begin, you do not stop until your heart's content. Does that make sense? Question.
Jack's torso is not real long.
Okay.
So if I've got a 6-foot defender on me, and his pelvis is not over, basically his pelvis was over your belt line.
Yes.
So if his pelvis is lower, even though he's not actively raping or anything, just his weight is lower. Yes. Then that thrusting, bridging technique would still work, even though he's shifted down lower, because if I can't get my legs up, because his weight is lower. For sure. I'm black. So, okay, here, let's talk about that.
I was going to suggest that anyway.
So, all right, so way down there, right? So he still has a base. Yep. So we've got one, right? And then as long as I can pick this up at all, we've got 2. All we need is that tip. Right? Again, we can have a tendency to focus on, oh my God, he got off of Bruce. Like Bruce threw him off. It's not all we need. We simply need the tip. Because once we have the tip, if you have no base, you have very little structure in this way. So all we need is we go from 4 to kind of 2, right? And even if they're getting squirrely and trying to, right, this is all that matters. Once they let go, or even if they don't, as they tip and you're driving, you drive yourself into an injury. And then what it's going to be is it's going to be them doing the best that they can to get away from you. And you're going to eat them alive. That's it. You're going to eat them alive. Does that make sense? Think mama bear. True. I mean, literally, think mama bear. This is my favorite part of our entire weekend, and there's a reason that I teach this, is it means the world to me. Right? There is nothing in nature that's not afraid of mama bear. Polar bears, male, twice, if not 2.5 times bigger than a female polar bear. If that polar bear goes after the cubs, the mother bear will go completely 100% towards it. There is nothing scarier in nature than a mother bear. So I want you to, in realizing that, I want you to become indignant. Someone is trying to take away something from you and something from the people who love you, your life. So they not only want to take your life, they want to take your life away from the people that love you, your children, husband, loved ones, all of them. Do not let them, at whatever cost. And the cost is going to be their existence because they put their hands on you. Does that make sense? So without all of that emotion, though, is we're simply going to get in and we're going to look at the mechanics of it because that's where the real excitement happens. All right? Then in a second, we're going to look at being choked. Same principles truly apply, and it's a lot easier than you might think. All right? So Ernie, Jack, and I, we're all going to help you out. Is there anyone, and again, let us know if you're really uncomfortable with being put in this position. You know, you don't have to call it out now, but just let us know. We'll figure out a way to make you feel comfortable with this because I really want all of you to feel it. It's a really neat thing. Yeah? Okay, so come on in. You're here.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there because now tomorrow and in the next video I'm doing, they'll start doing the application of everything. What I want you to notice is, did you notice at the end how Bruce was, really compassionate about saying, hey, listen, if you're uncomfortable getting in this position, he's really setting it up. And that's really, really important when you're dealing with people that have dealt with, true assaults. What's amazing is after this breakout session that they did, we took everybody back in and these women were completely different because of the methodology that's being used here. You'll notice how calm everybody is. You'll notice that we're not trying to scare them. We're not trying to have any false sense of, urgency. We're not trying to yell and scream and simulate anything. What are we talking about? What are the mechanics? How do you do this? Slowly, methodically, all the way through. That's how you get through to somebody. That's how you train them, especially if they've experienced trauma. If you know how to stair-step people through, it's amazing what you can get them to do. If we had taken these women, thrown them down on the ground, pinned them, tried to affect, aggression on them right away, we would have lost them. We were actually able to do that later on in the seminar when we took them out. They were able to go full force with it, as full force as we do without, obviously actually injuring each other. But I wanted to see that, we've set the table now. And so the next video, you're going to show how they actually, go through the training portion of it. And then you're going to see how they do up against the wall and stuff like that. But anyways, I really appreciate the fact that, I'm getting these questions and I know people are concerned. Usually the people asking the questions, either they've had a sexual assault happen to them or a loved one and they want them trained. So I just wanted to share with you kind of the methodology of how we do that. So thank you for watching this. Part 2 will be next. And please remember, subscribe to the channel and share the channel. Also, if you like this information and you want to make sure that you always receive it, go to surviveviolence.com, put your email in there, and we're going to send you a bunch of free content. Thanks again for watching.